Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Fantasy Football Universe. I am Aaron St. Dennis. Follow me everywhere at FF Mad Scientist, joined by Jeremy Schulman at FF_Rebel and Jesse Moeller at JMoeller05. We are here for Week 6, a must-start and must-sit players from the AFC side of the slate. That includes Colts at Titans, Texans Patriots, Commanders Ravens, Chargers Broncos, Steelers, Raiders, the Sunday Nighter Bengals, Giants, and the Monday Nighter Bills at Jets. And I really had to rein it in there. I said Commanders at Ravens. My brain almost processed the other name, and only because I was thinking last night I was watching the Tigers Guardians game because I'm a big baseball fan, and the announcer called the Guardians by their old name, and I thought that was hilarious, and he had to quickly apologize, and I said, "Oh, no, they can't call them that anymore." So we are here with two teams you can call by their current names, the Indianapolis Colts, Tennessee Titans. We start off with potentially the battle of the backup quarterbacks, but it could also be the battle of the starting quarterbacks. I have this one as Joe Flacco and Mason Rudolph, which I don't really want anything to do with Rudolph. But as we get closer and closer to game time, this looks more and more likely like it could be Anthony Richardson and Will Levis. What the hell are we doing here? This is a mess.
I think it needs to be Flacco. I don't know what the hell the Colts are doing, but I know they're winning or at least being competitive and staying in games with Joe Flacco. This defense is terrible. They need to have a functional offense. Anthony Richardson has not provided it. So I'm assuming it's Flacco, especially with the news that Richardson remains limited. I mean, we can't count on Wednesday practice reports. Really, we'll have to see what happens today. That said, I'm hoping it's Flacco for fantasy. We'll roll with Flacco. And Mason Rudolph, Will Levis, doesn't matter. Who cares? Sit him.
Yeah, I guess they showed him like throwing on the side and things of that nature, Anthony Richardson. But Anthony Richardson is the quote unquote future. So of course they're gonna bring him back when he's ready, just because they spent all that capital and everything in him. But yeah, like for these guys on that team who will be starting in a minute, we don't want Anthony Richardson. It's been a disaster. We want Joe Flacco because the pass rate and everything looks really great for him. On the Titans side, it's like, I don't know, man. Do they even have an NFL quality quarterback at this point? I don't even know on their team. We'll see if it's Will Levis. He has the arm strength, but he just sucks. Like, he's just not good. So, yeah, not excited for it. But Flacco, yeah, I'm excited for Flacco.
All right, let's move on to something a little more exciting. The running backs, ? Jonathan Taylor, ? Trey Sermon, 20th best matchup. Tony Pollard, Tyjae Spears, 9th best matchup. I think the obvious choice here is JT if he plays. I have him on sleeper listed as playing because he was in my IR slot, and the fuckers made me take him out so that I can hold him on a bench spot for 3 days and then have to put him back on an IR spot when he's ruled out again. I don't know why the fuck they do that, but anyways, that's a rant for another day. What do you think here? Is Taylor playing? I do not have him in my ranks. At least I don't even have him in my ranks. So I'm hedging on the no Taylor, but Sleeper seems to think he's not out yet. So what are we doing?
I'm hoping to ride the extreme inefficiency of Trey Sermon one more week here and have him fall into the end zone. But yeah, that's just on teams where I picked him up for some fab a week ago. No, the answer here is Tony Pollard and no one else. I mean, Jonathan Taylor, if he plays, sure, you fire him up. Of course, he's a high-end RB2 in this matchup. Tony Pollard has been killing it. I have him at RB14 right now. It feels a little high. I think you can also flex Tyjae Spears this week. But yeah, on the Colts side, JT, okay, Sermon, desperation flex.
Yeah, Sermon's the volume play. The issue is he's dealing with a collarbone injury. He may not even play. So you're talking about Tyler Goodson, who's actually, I think he's a better back than Trey Sermon. Trey Sermon's like a Najee Harris plotter, just not good, like right that. So if it is Tyler Goodson and then like Evan Hall kind of like spelling him, I don't mind that combo for them. They'll be like mid-range RB2s, RB3 flex range. And yeah, on the flip side, like Pollard's been awesome. So like, yeah, you're going to fire Pollard because he's been top 12 running back. I'm expecting it from him again. And to your point, yeah, I'm with you on Spears. Like Spears is a good running back. It's one of the better rooms in the NFL. So Spears is like a flex range, like RB30 for me. I like them both this week.
I have to defend my boy Trey Sermon. 6 targets, 6 receptions, only 25 yards, but finishes the half PPR RB10 last week because he fell into the end zone. So, yeah, he's a desperation flex for sure in this matchup, but let's not hate on him too much. Goodson did not finish that high.
All right, wide receivers. We have the worst matchup for the Colts. Pittman, who I think is now out long term. I don't think he's been IR'd, but it doesn't look good. Josh Downs, who I believe is also kind of hurt, and Alec Pierce, who I think is also kind of hurt. Everyone on the Colts is hurt, which is great because I loaded up on the Colts this offseason on pretty much every team I have. Ninth best matchup for Calvin Ridley, DeAndre Hopkins, and Tyler Boyd, who I forgot even plays there. What are we doing here assuming Pittman's out? Like, I think Downs is my highest ranked receiver. It could be Ridley. Either way, it's someone in the wide receiver 3 range at best. What do you got?
Yeah, I'll start with the Titans. They're easy. Calvin Ridley and Hopkins are kind of lower end flex plays. The matchup is great, but the quarterback is not. So you just kind of fire them up and cross your fingers and hope that both of them eat. I think I'm a little more Calvin Ridley than Hopkins this week, but I can play both of them. On the other end, Pittman is obviously done. So you got Josh Downs in the slot. I like that for Downs if Flacco plays, if Pittman's playing. But now that Pittman is out and you got Adonai Mitchell, or who even knows who else they're going to be rolling out on the outside now with Pittman gone, that puts a little more of the focus on Downs. Thankfully, L'Jarius Sneed does not go into the slot, and they got a guy named Roger McCreary who's working in there, who's fine. So yeah, Downs is the best option there, and the best option in this game, even though it's just not that great all around.
Yeah, like Downs already was seeing more first read share than Pittman and stuff. So basically, he was just a better receiver than Pittman in his role. So yeah, Downs is hashtag good at football. What's nice is like Alec Pierce has been running so smooth and just getting touchdowns nonstop. So it's kind of why we've seen AD Mitchell struggle. They're both going to play on the outside. Downs is going to be the slot. Downs is going to be the guy getting a lot of early looks from Flacco and should be beneficial. On your flip side, it's a dream matchup for Ridley. His air yard shares are like 40%. He just got to connect on some of that this week. The problem is it's Mason Rudolph, Will Levis, whoever it is. That's the bigger issue. But yeah, I'm going to have Ridley and Downs inside my top 30. Downs is going to be a top 20 wide receiver for me as Flacco plays. Like, I'm very in on Downs. And then you could do the AD Mitchell or you could do the DeAndre Hopkins and one of those guys. They're like wide receiver 40 for me.
All right, moving on to the tight ends. It is the 32nd best matchup, so the worst matchup for who? And it's the third best matchup for gives a fuck. Who gives a fuck? Moving on. Yeah. Houston Texans, New England Patriots. We kind of give a little bit more of a fuck about this one. And yet we spent 7.5 minutes on the last shit show with nobody playing. CJ Stroud, 24th best matchup. Jacoby Brissett, Drake May, whoever the fuck it is. Antonio Gibson out of the Wildcat, 12th best matchup there. CJ Stroud is obviously a must start, but how high up do you have him in? Not a wonderful matchup. I only have him at 11. This matchup's not great. The Patriots play defense mainly because that's all they get to play. Their offense is on the field for 3 plays at a time. But what do you think, resident Patriots fan?
Stroud is further down for me. I know New England is like hemorrhaging hope at this point. They're just lost all of it, and they're just throwing Drake May into the fire. Just why not? But yeah, CJ Stroud's down at 17 for me. I think the loss of Nico, we've seen it, is not good for his value. Tank still probably isn't right. And so they're really going to have to piece things together. I think they lean on the run game no matter who that happens to be. So Stroud a little bit lower for me. Drake May, I can't do it with Drake May. I know this is a decent matchup here, but I have him at 27 right now. Listen, we hope we see fireworks. We hope he goes off. I don't think that's likely. I just hope he stays healthy.
Yeah, it's the mobile rushing quarterback who's going to scramble for his life. It's similar to Bo Nix against the Chargers. That's how I'm kind of viewing it. They're both rookies. Like, they're going to take some time. He might be able to get loose with some rushing plays, but yeah, he's going to be under constant duress. So it's not one you're going to have confidence in against a really good Houston Texans defense that's top 7 in pressure rate. So good luck, Drake May. I'm rooting for you. Hopefully it's nice and easy, but it could be a rough first game to start.
Yeah. All right, running backs on to more guys who are not sure who are playing. Texans 11th best matchup, Joe Mixon, who the fuck knows? Cam Akers, Dara Gumbawale. Oh, fuck. It's week 6 and there's nobody healthy already. 24th best matchup for the Patriots, Ramondre Stevenson, who lost his job for 3 plays, which is an entire series for the Pats, but then got it back once they realized Antonio Gibson sucks and isn't a running back. Joe Mixon's going to easily be my highest ranked here, but I feel like he's outside my top 15. I don't think he's actually not even in my rankings yet. So that tells you how confident I am in him playing. I have Ramondre at 18, which is higher than I thought he would be, but another mess of a backfield on both sides. What do you think here?
Yeah, it's a big mess. I'm right there with you on Ramondre. I don't really want to play him, but he's my RB17, so I'm definitely going to play him. I don't love it. Gibson, no thank you. On the other end, I'm assuming Joe Mixon sits, and Dare Ogunbowale is the guy that I want to play in this backfield. 11 targets in the last 2 games for 10 receptions, over 100 yards and a touchdown. He's been back-to-back the half PPR RB19 in weeks 4 and week 5. He is definitely flex worthy, especially if Joe Mixon is out. But with Nico out, they're just turning to someone else, and Dare Ogunbowale has been the guy they're turning to. It hasn't been Schultz. It hasn't been Tank because of the potential injuries. So I'm going with Dare in the flex.
Bet you never thought you'd say those words about targeting Dare Ogunbowale.
Yeah. They had the dream matchup last week against Buffalo. They did just give up fantasy points nonstop to running backs. It worked out for Dare. He got a lot more carries. The interesting thing is Dameon Pierce is coming back, and he's their RB2. So I'm curious to see how this works. Like Cam Akers is just getting sent out to the woodshed. Like you're not doing the Cam Akers thing. I'll have Dameon Pierce is the highest ranked running back for the Texans. He'll be like an RB2. Dare is the flex because he can do the pass catching. I just don't know how it's going to work with that, so I'm a little bit not as bullish this week on Dare. On the flip side, Ramondre gets the work. He's a top 20 running back. You kind of just hope and pray with him because that offense just isn't good. But he's going to see volume similar to the Najee. It's like, all right, just give him the 20 attempts. We'll see how it goes.
Damn, Jesse out here sending motherfuckers to the woodshed. Wide receivers, yay, more injured players. 17th best matchup for the Texans, who have Stephon Diggs, maybe Tank Dell, Noah Brown. 14th best matchup for the healthiest wide receiving room in the NFL because, of course, nobody gives a shit, so why wouldn't they be healthy? I guess you actually have to touch the ball to get injured, but Demario Douglas, Jalen Polk, Javon Baker. This one's all Steph Diggs. I mean, I guess if Tank Dell plays, you're playing him as a 3 or a flex, but I guess you can maybe desperation play Demario Douglas, but I'm loading up on Stephon Diggs, and I don't really have any interest in anybody else. How about you guys?
Yeah, I agree. And you got a name here, Javon Baker, on this list. I mean, Patriots wide receiver 3. I'm Fargo forget the woodshed. I'm Fargo taking those guys and shoving them in the wood chipper. I mean, like Javon Baker has done. Look, Polk and Douglas desperation flexes if you really need them. I don't want to rely on any of these guys in May's first outing. I want to see how it goes. That said, yeah, Stephon Diggs, I think he's a must play every week that Nico's out with Tank Dell just on the mend, seemingly. Tank, I'm sitting him until further notice.
You know the Patriots fan is down bad when he's trying to put his own wide receivers in the wood chipper. But I will say Jalen Polk gets hope with Drake May because he's going to push the field down more, and that suits his skill set more, and he's been on the field. So, yeah, both those guys are like wide receiver 50+. I think Demario Douglas is the highest because he lives in the, that short A-dot area. Flip side, Tank, Stephon Diggs by far is the biggest beneficiary of this. He is similar to like the Wandales, those type of guys where it's like short A-dot. That's what he's going to do in this game. And by the way, the Patriots give up top 10 to slot wide receivers. So Diggs, like I'm expecting him to have a good game this week. So he's the top 15 wide receiver for me.
It got fucking dark in here today, man. Wood chippers and out back and geez.
Watch out.
Speaking of dark abyss, let's go to the tight end position where it's the 15th best matchup for Dalton Schultz and the 30th best for Hunter Henry. Maybe Dalton Schultz gets more volume here because there's nobody healthy. Hunter Henry's your touchdown dependent desperation play. I really hope I don't have either of these guys in my lineup. I prefer it be Dalton Schultz if I have to. He's probably high enough to be in my top 12 given the situation and how shitty the position is. But yeah, like it's not. Oh, he is. He's number 11, which is, kind of like fantasy football jigsaw movie. Thoughts?
Nope. Jesse?
Both these guys fall into that touchdown dependent where they're like, well, the thing about Henry is he could lead the team in targets this week. That wouldn't shock me at all. I much prefer Dalton Schultz because he's CJ Stroud. It's a better matchup, and he's going to be the third option in that passing attack. So, yeah, he'll be borderline top 12. I have him at 14. You could do it with Schultz, but it's not the best. It's just it's gross. It's tight end, man.
Pick up AD Mitchell. There's no downside to picking up AD Mitchell unless you have to drop someone good. I mean, the worst thing that happens is you drop him, but
I mean, he's just sticking his hand out, dropping everything that comes in his vicinity. Like, no, he's not even trying out there. It's getting ridiculous with AD.
It's the rookies, man. Their second half plays. So AD Mitchell could come on strong. We're seeing this with like Rome Odunze. Like rookies take time. So if you want to pick him up, be patient with him. Don't drop him after this week. Like that's what you're going to have to do.
I don't like it.
All right. Moving on to Washington and Baltimore. Some good quarterbacks here. We got Jaden Daniels, 4th best matchup. Lamar Jackson, 10th best. These are my 1 and 2. I have Lamar higher, I think just out of respect. I dropped Gus Edwards to pick up Vidal. Drop them both to pick up. Yeah, pass.
I mean, hey, Vidal's going to be on the field this week. We're going to shot.
I dropped Gus.
Yeah. Gus just not good.
Thoughts on the quarterbacks here?
Very slight downgrade for Jaden Daniels. I'm not happy about it. He's my QB 6. I just see Baltimore figuring out a little bit. That doesn't mean much in terms of the score of this game. Washington's still going to do what Washington does, and you can pass on Baltimore, right? But Jaden Daniels a slight downgrade just because Baltimore knows what's up. Lamar Jackson QB1. Yeah, these guys are both top 6 options, and I could be convinced to move Jaden up during the week for sure.
Yeah, we just saw Joe Burrow dice up this defense, like absolutely shred them. And Jaden Daniels is playing among the best in the NFL at quarterback right now, so it's really hard for me to fade him. I'm tempted to put him above Lamar this week just because of how good the offense is playing. I'm not. He's my quarterback too. I'm with you, Aaron. Yeah, you're firing these guys everywhere. It's going to be like fireworks, one of the highest scoring games of the week. So yeah, start them with confidence.
Running backs. 3rd worst matchup for Brian Robinson and Austin Eckler. 15th best for Derrick Henry and Justice Hill. I am sure Derrick Henry is the highest. He is at 3. Next up is Brian Robinson, I'm sure, but he's down at 26. I think Austin Eckler's playable if you need to, although I have him at 40. Justice Hill is probably a desperation in the same range for me. What are your thoughts?
Yep. Derrick Henry's my RB1 this week. I think he gets it done all the way around. Like Jesse said, I think there's going to be a shootout. Is Jaden Daniels the biggest beneficiary of the shootout? I don't know. But I think Lamar and Henry just roll in this one. On the other side of the ball, I've got Robinson at 16. I've got Eckler in the low 20s, 28. So I like both of these running backs on Washington. Justice Hill is a desperation flex if you need him.
Yeah, it's interesting with how these defenses are going. The Ravens are turning into more of a pass funnel, which is kind of interesting, and you're seeing how that works out this year. But yeah, so you could do the Eckler thing because of all the receptions he's likely to get in that role. I don't mind it. But yeah, Derrick Henry, it's a good matchup for him. You start him. He's top, I think I'm top 7. Brian Robinson, he's still dealing with that injury, so I'm a little less bullish on him. He's like RB 18. Sure. But yeah, you want to fire him. Like, there's so many points in this game. You just kind of trust the starting running backs because they're more than likely to find their way to the end zone this game.
All right, the receiver. I say singular. There's 1 on each team. Terry McLaurin, 3rd best matchup. 6th best matchup for Zay Flowers. I gave them both as wide receiver 2s. I'm pretty confident starting either of them. I think it's Terry higher for me. Terry at 17. Actually, Zay at 16. So, like I said, wide receiver 2s, middle of the pack there. They both have some upside. They're both the only non-tight end target, non-running back target, I guess. I'm not starting Luke McCaffrey, De'Ami Brown, Rashad Bateman, Nelson Aguilar. Like, I get there's desperation situations where they have some hope and prayer upside, but it's 2 wide receiver 2s for me and nobody else. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I'm the same. They're 13 and 14 for me with Zay ahead, but both of those guys, I'm firing them up. The interesting thing is Luke McCaffrey. I just want to keep an eye on him. He had 3 targets last week. It seems like against a Cleveland team where they didn't even really need him in the passing game, but it seems like he's out there a lot more, and they're calling his name a lot more. So I like the idea of Luke McCaffrey. We'll have to see if that develops. And De'Ami Brown had a really nice game last week. So these aren't guys I'm necessarily starting, but I am monitoring them on Washington and seeing what they do this week.
Yeah, I'm very interested in Zay Flowers this week because when they want to feature him, his role's really good. It's just if they are just able to grind you like offensively with the running game, they kind of just go that. So if Washington shows it can hold up against the run, which it's TBD on that, like then I could see Zay Flowers getting more involved. Terry McLaurin's been awesome. It's been really working with Jaden Daniels. I have him wide receiver 13. Zay Flowers just a little less bullish. He's like wide receiver 17, but I like these guys a lot in this matchup.
Yeah, and Bateman last week, 8 targets and a touchdown, but he's got a groin injury, so just monitor that. He would be a desperation flex if you need it.
Tight ends, we have 6th best matchup for Zach Ertz, who I think I prefer out of all these guys because there's only one of him. Bad matchup, 28th best for the trio of Ravens tight ends, Andrews, Likely, Kohler. I don't really want to play any of these. I'm sure there's lineups where I have to play Andrews because I drafted him so high and don't have any other options, but he's tight end 13 for me. Isaiah Likely's at 12. Zach Ertz at 14, and then I don't think I have Kohler anywhere near there. Kohler's down in the 30s. So, yeah, not great. Not great. Thoughts?
Yeah, I don't know what to do with Mark Andrews. He's still sitting on my bench for the time being. I have Likely 13 and Andrews 17 at the moment. Ertz in the middle at 15. So I think you can play any of these guys. I'd obviously prefer Likely in this, even though it's a tough matchup. But Zach Ertz, after a down week, I think he's definitely viable. And you probably don't have a ton better options than him if you're in a bad tight end situation. So, yeah, you can play any of these guys. Mark Andrews, you might want to sit on your bench.
Yeah, it's a better matchup for Zach Ertz, and he doesn't have the competition from Likely. And Kohler gets on the field for blocking. A lot of doing that because he's a really good blocking tight end. So that's why he's kind of cutting into Mark Andrews a little bit. But yeah, like I get it. Zach Ertz is dusty and old, but he's going to see targets, probably see more higher target share and everything than Mark Andrews. So you got to put him up there. He's tied at 13. Like you can just play in this matchup.
All right, let's move on to the next one. We have LA Chargers, Denver Broncos. Justin Herbert, 27th best matchup, 29th best for Bo Nix, who finally started to look like an actual NFL quarterback. So, of course, we're promptly going to be leaving him on the bench in a shitty matchup. I don't really want to play either quarterbacks. Both these secondaries are pretty tough to pass on. I don't imagine either of them is inside the top 20 for me. Herbert's at 24. Nix is at 25. Got some real symmetry going on today. What do you guys have?
Yeah, I've got Nix at 20. Who cares? I mean, you're not starting. It doesn't matter at the end there. And Herbert at 25. Yeah, I don't want to start either of these guys. The matchups are too tough. We're gonna see a low scoring game here.
Yeah, Denver's defense is legit. They've turned a corner. They're first in EPA per play, first in pass rush, and 30 success rate. Good luck, Justin Herbert. Like they're dominating the trenches. So congrats to Sean Payton and all of them for figuring the trenches out. Now work on the skill position players. Let's get it all coming together. But yeah, I'm not starting either of these guys. I have Nix at like 22. I have him above Herbert. I'm just not playing Herbert. He's like quarterback 25.
Running backs, 23rd best matchup for the Chargers, 26th for the Broncos. So some more guys we're probably not playing. J.K. Dobbins is interesting. He's probably the most startable for me. I could also probably desperation flex Javonte Williams, but I've really got to be desperate to go Jaleel McLaughlin. Gus Edwards, Kamani Vidal, whoever it is, no real interest here. I mean, I'm going to look here. I'm not sure how high I have J.K. Dobbins. I imagine he's my highest ranked, and he's in the low 20s, high 30s. 27 for him, 30 for Javonte. That pretty much sums up how I feel about this one. What do you guys have?
Yeah, yes, I don't really... I don't really want to talk about J.K. Dobbins. I'll leave that to Jesse if he wants to. Let's talk a little bit about Javonte Williams, though. The last 2 weeks, 16 attempts, 13 attempts, almost 5 yards a carry. He just hasn't found the end zone. So once that happens, that's going to boost his value here. So you still roll him out in a tough matchup. And he had 6 targets, 5 for 50 through the air last week. That was really something that was helpful to kind of just give me a boost in confidence in starting Javonte Williams. Now, it's a tougher matchup, and he's got a couple ones here in Los Angeles and then New Orleans back-to-back. But, yeah, Javonte Williams, I think you fire him up, he's a nice flex.
Yeah, I don't actually mind J.K. Dobbins in this matchup because he can get there with basically just being super efficient and missed tackles forced. Mm-hmm. But, yeah, it's not ideal. The nice thing about Javonte is just seeing a good amount of work, so you can play him. Both of these guys are like the running back threes for me. I think I have Javonte a few spots above him just because I'm a little more beneficial on the work. But I think J.K. Dobbins is a guy you can play. You're more than likely any one of these guys find the end zone if you're going to be happy with the performance.
Yep.
Wide receivers, more bad matchups. Second worst for the Chargers. 4th worst for the Broncos. A lot of guys here I don't want to play. Quentin Johnston, Ladd McConkey, Josh Palmer, Cortland Sutton, Troy Franklin, Marvin Mims. I think I can get Sutton into my lineup as a 2 or a 3. Ladd McConkey probably slightly lower. I don't really want anyone else in here. I think Ladd, is a boomer bust flex option. I think Sutton is the only one I'm really starting with confidence. Having said that, the right play might be Quentin Johnston, because if Ladd's the one, I have him at 37 and Sutton at 38. But if Ladd is who you consider the one here, assume he's getting Patrick Surtain, which means it's probably a Josh Palmer or Quentin Johnston game, but I don't love any of this.
Yeah, we'll see where Ladd lines up, but I don't like either of them.
Yes.
39 and then 43 for these guys. Just no. If you have to, you have to, but no.
You guys taking this? I'll take
AJ
Brown.
You're giving me Ken Walker and AJ Brown for CD? Like, I love CD, but like he's gone. Take that deal. Big it. Yeah. The interesting thing, to your point, Aaron, is Ladd plays in the slot, so he's not going to get Surtain. Surtain's going to be on the outside. Good luck, Quentin Johnston. You're getting absolutely annihilated. I'm fine playing Cortland Sutton in this game. He's going to be on the outside. Like, they have good corners, but it's not the same. I don't mind doing Ladd in this matchup because he's going to be in the slot. It's a lot easier for him to succeed there. Ladd's the highest of them. I have Ladd at wide receiver 37. I have Cortland Sutton at 32 just because the volume and everything, he's the only passing back option on this team you could trust. You can't trust anybody else for the Broncos.
Tight ends. Yippee. Top 10 matchups. Do you know who plays for the Chargers? It's who? Do you know who plays for the Broncos? Does anybody know? It gives a fuck. Moving on. Nobody cares.
Hey,
nobody cares.
Listen, Aaron, I'm sat here in this seat here, and I'm feeling a little nerdy after that game. And I'm just wondering, like, especially with the Broncos, talking about that matchup, if I was in the Denver area and I was interested in going to watch that horrific game, what would you recommend?
First, I would recommend going to SeatGeek and using promo code FFUniverse for $20 off your first order. And then after that, I would suggest you seek psychiatric help. But that's what I would do. Fair enough. All right. Can we just skip fucking tight end? Oh, no. Okay, these two tight ends we can talk about. But Steelers, Raiders, Justin Fields, Aiden O'Connell, yippee. Justin Fields, 13th best matchup. I'm sure he's in my top 8. Aiden O'Connell, 26th best matchup. I am sure Rod Farva is not in my top 40. Let's see. Fields I've got up at, actually, I said top 8. He's 9. Fields at 9. Aiden O'Connell at 28. Below Derek Carr, who is not going to start this week. So I guess I need to move him up maybe a little bit in my rankings. But thoughts?
Yeah, it feels ugly. I mean, you're still rolling with Fields after a down game last week. He's still my QB 13. There's just a few better matchups above him. We'll see if he lasts the whole game. I mean, there's been some rumblings in the nooks and crannies of Twitter about Russell Wilson full practices this week, and we'll see what happens. I think it's still Justin Fields' team until he absolutely implodes, and that's not happened yet. I'm gonna start him if I need him, and I do in a few spots. Aiden O'Connell, no.
Fields' weapons suck. They have the worst separation rate in the NFL, so it's really difficult for him. And they're benching Pickens pretty much because they don't want to deal with the drama that is Pickens. But the problem is they don't have any other good wide receivers. So figure it out, Pittsburgh. Help us out. I'm not doing O'Connell. I don't even know if he's better than Minshew. Their pass weapons. Adams might play, might not play. I don't know. O'Connell's a no thank you. He's like quarterback 27. Fields is quarterback 12. He's just so good. I'm just gonna fire him up.
Okay, the Steelers are like me, who how I'm always attracted to crazy women. What is it with the Steelers and being attracted to crazy receivers? George Pickens out there with always fucking open written across his face on his fucking eye black. That's psychotic shit out there. For a guy who's not very good, that's some psychopath level shit.
It's like the guy that shoots the dude in the corner, and then he's like, "Why would you do that?" Yeah, that's the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Jesus. Well, so they get no separation, which is great. A great combination for a quarterback who couldn't hit an open target. So
right.
It's Roman Wilson, but yes,
Roman Wilson. Yeah, I mean, if they want to draft Ryan Williams in a few years, absolutely. They need
running back, 7th best matchup for the Steelers, 3rd worst for the Raiders. I can play Najee Harris this week. Jaylen Warren, I don't know if he's healthy. Alexander Madison is kind of a James White level pass catcher. Yes, Roman Wilson. And Zamir White is Zamir White. So for me, it's Najee as probably an RB2 or 3. I'm interested. What do I have? I have Najee all the way up at 17 this week. So he's playable for me. Nobody else is going anywhere near my lineup.
Yeah, I'm the same way, and I hate Najee Harris this season. He's just been abysmal. He's the plotter of plotters. He looks like Zeke out there. It's getting really bad for him. I just can't wait until Jalen Warren comes back, or CPAT, right? If Cordero Patterson is in this game, Najee probably gets a downgrade still because the bye weeks, because the injuries. He's my RB19. I hate it. But yeah, we'll roll with him in the flex. Otherwise, no one else.
Yeah, remember how we were talking about the dream matchup for Najee, and I was like, I'm not doing it because he sucks. Like, this is the thing with Najee Harris. He's not explosive, and they're not creating lanes for him, and he cannot succeed without a good offense line. Pittsburgh Steelers are dealing with injuries. Amarius Mims got hurt. No, thank you. He's my running back 26. You could do it, but there are just better plays across the board. I don't know if Warren's going to play or not. I would be more excited for Warren if he's going to play. I don't know. He's still dealing with the injury. On the flip side, yeah, you want to do the Zamir White, Alexander Madison thing. Feel free. Madison's pass catcher, I guess. Like, these are both like near RB40 for me. It's just so trusted to one of those guys. I don't know how it's going to go. I have White a few spots above him, but I'm not excited for either one of them.
I just want to add to the Najee stats before we move on here. 82 attempts. That's got to be close to tops in the league. 3.3 yards per carry. It's so abysmal for Najee.
Roman Wilson is a bum like Blake Corum. Oh, he's a Buckeyes fan. So I'm just amazed the Buckeyes fan was able to write out a sentence. So
fired.
Got him.
Check the scoreboard. Go Blue. Anyways, moving on to the two diva wide receiver battle here. We have George Pickens, Calvin Austin, Devontae Adams, Jacoby Myers, Trey Tucker. I don't know if I want to start anyone here because I don't know if George Pickens and Devontae Adams are even trying at this point. Who's my highest? Who's your highest, guys? I'm scrolling. I've got Pickens at 25. I've got to have Adams higher than 25, right? No.
He's got to be out another game, right? I can't imagine him coming back and playing, but I guess it's possible, theoretically. I guess Antonio Pierce spoke to him this week, and they're on speaking terms. Who the hell knows what's going on? Adams, let's pretend he plays. Meh. First game back in a few games, so he'll be my highest. But yeah, Pickens, okay. Jacoby, probably not. Trey Tucker, you could talk me into on the Raiders, but yeah, I don't really want to play anybody here.
Yeah, Jacoby Myers is also dealing with an ankle injury, so that's fun. He was a DNP on Wednesday. Obviously, Wednesday's a rest day. We don't know, but Adams dealing with injury. Jacoby Myers dealing with injury. We might be talking about Trey Tucker, wide receiver 1 for the Raiders, and good luck with that. I know SC likes him, but he's not a wide receiver 1. George Pickens, I have him at wide receiver 30. If he's going to, I think he not learned his lesson, but they learned his lesson. They got to play him. You can't do that offense without him. So I think he's going to be a guy you can go back to the well with. He's good enough. Outside of that, I don't know how it works out for the Raiders with these guys. Just no thank you to the rest of them.
Yeah, there are exceptions, Jamie. Trust me, I'm also a Saints fan, and one of my favorite players is Chris Olave, who I fucking hated at Ohio State. So, it's like I see this, you see it in every sport. Like there's Red Wings players who played for Michigan State. Once they get to the pros, if they're on your team, you forgive the past. But I do agree, though, Blake Corum sucks. And that's from a Michigan guy. Tight ends we can actually not skip over. 19, and they have bad matchups, of course. 19th best for Pat Freiermuth, 14th best for Brock Bowers. I've got Bowers at 4, Freiermuth at 8. Given the current landscape, these two are must starts pretty much, right?
Yeah. Bowers 6, Freiermuth 9. Plug him
in. 69.
Yeah, especially with the injuries with Adams and Jacoby Myers, this could be Brock Bowers' show and getting all the targets. Yeah. I'm fine with Brock Bowers. I have him tight end 3. He's just really good, man.
Nice.
How's that a high percent of anybody.
That's like last year. Did you know last year I drafted Adam Thielen in 91% of my leagues? You know what the fun part was? Everyone said you must have crushed it. He was my last round guy and everything. You know what was fun? I dropped him in half those leagues by week 3 because of injuries, and he was the worst player on my team, and he fucking went postal from week 4 to 14. Yeah. Fuck Adam Thielen.
And then he died. It was a good run for him.
And he died. All right, let's move on to our second last game, the Sunday Nighter, which is Bengals and Giants. Quarterback, 16th best matchup for Joe Burrow, 5th best matchup for Danny Dimes. I've got Burrow at 4, which is the highest I've had him all year, and I've got Daniel Jones at 14, also the highest I've had him all year. I guess if I have any players on these teams, I just kind of hope they continue to play the current level of defense they don't play, and just there's tons of offense here. Thoughts?
Yeah, you start them both up. I'm the same with you. Burrow 3, Daniel Jones 14. You got to play both of these guys, especially with bye weeks. Daniel Jones is in a ton of my super flex lineups.
Yeah, like it sucks that I put Daniel Jones above CJ Stroud, but that's where we're at this week.
Yeah.
It's a really good matchup for him. And Joe Burrow's playing lights out. I remember all the injury discourse this offseason about, his wrist is blah, blah, blah. Joe Burrow is like, yeah, dude, I don't care. I'm just a really good quarterback. So, yeah, I have him at QB. I think he's QB4. I love Joe Burrow this week. It's a really good matchup. We saw as long as they can hold up against the pressure, the Giants will struggle defensively. Unlike the Seahawks, I think the Burrow and the Bengals can hold up, so it'll be fun.
Yikes. Isn't fantasy football fun? But that's all the more reason why I hate trading in some of these leagues, because you have guys like, I get it. This guy was able to transition and start, realize values change. But I've got the guys where it's like, I'll trade you this guy for that guy. Well, I can't. I drafted this guy in the 3rd round. You drafted yours in the 7th. Well, so I'm supposed to overpay because you're a moron? Well, good job. This guy was able to transition. This guy didn't get stuck in his ways and was able to move on and start a usable team. Top running backs here. 22nd best matchup for the Bengals. 12th best matchup for the Giants. We don't know if either starter is healthy. If this one's just Chase Brown and just Tyrone Tracy, I think they're both probably borderline top 12s. If all 4 are playing, I think they're all RB2s, 3s. There's some interesting players here, especially because where you got these guys, they're likely your flex options. So if it's just the 2 of them, I have it Chase Brown, then Tyrone Tracy. If it's all 4 of them, Zach Moss, Singletary, Brown, Tracy. Like, it's a lot messier with 4 of them, but I could see a scenario even with all 4 healthy where I could flex any of the 4. What do you guys think?
I'd be really surprised if Zach Moss plays this week. We'll see. But I think he's got the high ankle. If that's the case, that usually keeps him out a couple weeks. Chase Brown has looked so good and so electric. They need a pass blocker back there, but Chase Brown looked great. I love Chase Brown this week. He's my RB21, and I think he can outperform that ranking as well. And Tyrone Tracy looked so good last week. You got to plug him in. Devin Singletary, even if he plays, is likely to be hobbled. Just check the reports and make sure they're not saying he's good to go, he's 100%, because if Singletary just steps back into that old role, and he's just going to totally, bump Tracy out. I don't know if you can put the genie back in the bottle, as they say with Tyrone Tracy, but the Giants might be able to try, so we'll see.
The way I see this trade, I prefer the Love side over Darnold. I prefer BTJ over Tank Dell. I prefer Gibbs over Najee, and I prefer Laporta over Johnston. So 3-1 for the Love side.
Yeah.
Thoughts?
Yeah, I want the Love side. You're getting Love, BCJ, Laporta. Like, I'll be fine with that. I'll live with Najee. Probably not going to start him, but yeah, I think that's fine.
Yep.
Jesse, sorry, did you have anything to say about the running backs here?
Yeah, I'm with you. If they I can't talk for some reason. The injuries with Zach Moss seems like it's more likely he's going to miss the week. Deepak Chona on Twitter, who's an injury specialist, said Singletary is likely to come back, but he's going to be worse and injury risk is higher. So we'll see on that. Yeah, if Zach Moss is getting all the work by himself, he's a top 12 back for me. Tyrone Tracy would be same spot. Like, they give up a ton of rushing yards. The Bengals are what we call really bad at stopping the run. They're going to get shredded by the Giants in this game. So I like both of those guys. And even if they're both playing, I think you could flex both of them this week. So I don't mind if both Giants guys are playing. On the flip side, the Bengals is a little bit more iffy, but yeah, I expect Chase Brown to get a lot of work this week.
Wide receivers, 19th best matchup for the Bengals, 13th best matchup for the Giants. I have Chase the highest. Malik Neighbors is a close. They're probably same level. If he plays, I think he will. I can play T. Higgins and Wandale as a 2. Yoshivas, I guess, if I'm desperate. No interest in Jalen Hyatt. Houston Texans running back Joe Mixon has returned to full practice today. Sorry, what do you guys think here on the wide receivers?
Someone who has not returned to full practice is Malik Neighbors. It came out just today. I'm not sure how long ago, but it was today that he remains in the same stage of concussion protocol per Fantasy Pros that he
6
has
minutes
been
ago.
in.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not great.
Nope.
I have Jamar 5, Malik 6, but it's trending down for Neighbors. If Neighbors doesn't play, I'm firing Wandale up anyway. But if Neighbors doesn't play, Wandale will get a boost, a slight boost. Wandale on T, sure, why not?
I hadn't seen that, but if he's still in the same, he's out of my rankings now, Neighbors, because if he's still in the same state, he's not clearing concussion protocol for Sunday. So
yeah, it's more than likely. A lot of people expect him not to play this week, which sucks because he would absolutely smash in this matchup.
Yeah.
But yeah, like we've seen with Jamar Chase and T. Higgins on the field, Jamar Chase is going back to like the super dominant alpha that we've seen before because Higgins takes away coverage because they have to focus on him. It makes it a lot easier. I'm gonna have Wandale's top 20 option. T. Higgins is borderline top 20. Jamar Chase is top 5 option. Like, and then if it's an injury, like I don't really trust anyone else on the passing attack. Like you could do Hyatt or one of those guys, but I'm just not gonna do it for Giants.
Close this game out with the tight ends. Gesicki, 21st best matchup. Theo Johnson, 4th best. I don't really want anything to do with these guys unless I'm absolutely desperate. And like, unless I have to like start Mark Andrews or something, then maybe these guys. But what do you think?
Yeah, we'll see what happens. But yeah, between Gesicki and Eric All, who's out there running routes, I mean, you just don't know what's going on. Mike Gesicki plays less than Eric All, but when he's out there, he's running all the routes and seeing looks as well. So it's really tricky between these two guys. The thing that I'm looking forward to, or I'm looking out for rather, is Theo Johnson. 5 catches on 5 targets last week, granted against Seattle, but for 48 yards against Cincinnati, another beatable matchup, as you can see. So if I'm desperate, I could see plugging in Theo Johnson.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm with you. Like Andrew Cooper was saying, Theo Johnson was blocking a good amount. He's like 25% of the pass plays. Last week, it was down to 5% of the pass plays. So like they are using him more in the passing game. And if you're on an option, like I'll fire him up. He's a top 16 option for me this week. The Gritty King, like you could do it with the Gritty King, but they're all splitting him and Eric All. Like it's kind of fun, but yeah.
I think T. Higgins was a buy low. I think that window's probably closed. Now he's a hold and sell high in a bit, but for now.
Yeah.
All right, let's close it out with Monday Night Football. Here we've got Buffalo Bills, New York Jets. Josh Allen, worst matchup for quarterbacks. 22nd best for Aaron Rodgers. Josh Allen is still my 8th, QB 8. Aaron Rodgers in a much better matchup is QB 23. So fuck Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, fuck Aaron Rodgers, but fuck Josh Allen on my fantasy teams. It's been so hard for him. Listen, in 5 weeks, these are Josh Allen's QB finishes. 1, 28, 1, 28, 19. So Josh Allen obviously is still Josh Allen. It's just we see the impact of these weapons. He's still my quarterback 4. I mean, Josh Allen's already done it twice this year where he finishes the QB1. He can strap the team on his back, especially a team like the New York Jets who just lost their head coach and they're in turmoil and in shambles, losing 10-9. But we know they still have a good defense. So Allen needs to be downgraded a little bit, but you're still playing him. Rodgers, no.
Yeah, the Jets decided to make Todd Downing the OC. And if anyone wants to remember what the Tennessee Titans look like from 2021 to 2022, that was the OC calling those plays where it was one of the highest rush rates, like neutral. It was just gross for fantasy. It's going to be gross for Aaron Rodgers. He's going to have to be super efficient. He hasn't. So, yeah, he's like basically – he's just right above the Bo Nix. He's like a quarterback 22-ish. Josh Allen, he's just so good. I think he's just going to scramble more is what they're going to end up doing with him because James Cook's dealing with a toe injury. Like their skill position players are not doing very well. So it's just going to be entirely Josh Allen this week. So, yeah, he's a top 8 option for me this week. I don't mind Josh Allen, though.
Thoughts on this one? What are you sending to buy low on Brace? I never believed in these. Like people send me these buy low offers on Brace and I'm like, yeah, fuck yourself. Like taking these buy low, extreme buy lows.
Brees and Bijan both have incredible matchups this week, but if people don't realize it, it's your chance to buy low. I'm going low. So I sent Tank Bigsby and Brooks in a redraft league, home league to, a buddy just to see if it'll happen. That's far too low. But, if people are fed up with these guys, go ahead, send a 2-for-1 deal, send a wide receiver in the T. Higgins range. That's kind of a good option as well with a plus on top. And maybe you can get one of these 2 backs for, especially this week in the future.
Yeah, I don't mind sending Nico Collins over if I can get Brees. Like, I get it. He's going to be a long injury, so like I would do something like that. Any one of those range, like Marvin Harrison Jr., send him over. I'll send those type of players over, even if you have to get a plus to get Brees Hall because he's that good of a player. He's just struggled. So yeah, I don't mind him at all.
SC, if I own Brees and you send me T. Higgins or injured Nico Collins, you're getting blocked. Just saying. Selling Kincaid, you have to hold. If anything, buy low because you can't sell him. He has no value.
Yeah, I mean, you can try like the Tucker Kraft. Like you can try flipping him for Tucker Kraft. Like that's probably your best bet if you want to get high end tight end production. But outside of that, yeah,
I'm not sure I'd give away Tucker Kraft to get Dalton Kincaid.
That's what I'm saying. But you're not getting like Laporta or Ferguson or any one of those guys, right? So it's kind of like it's that range.
All right, you're holding out hope.
All right, running backs, 25th best matchup for the Bills, best matchup for the Jets. So I guess now's the buy low time, as you were saying, if you can buy low, because he's about to go fucking postal. James Cook, Ray Davis, Breece Hall, Braylon Allen. James Cook, he's dealing with an injury, right?
Yeah, it's turf toe.
Turf toe? That's not fucking good. Not practicing Wednesday, turf toe. Bad news. I have him at 6, but that's going to change because of turf toe. Yeah. Breece Hall I have at 7. That's changing. Breece Hall I just moved up to 3. Breece Hall I just moved up to 3. What do you guys have?
Yeah, I got Breece at 7. James Cook, I don't know. Braylon Allen needs to be moved completely up my rankings, especially with this. He's RB36. It's far too low. I'm going to put him in the low 20s. Let's say RB24 this week. He's just been getting the work. He's looking good, and you can run all over this Bills defense. The Jets are going to have to, especially because they're not going to be able to pass on him. So, yeah, Breece and Braylon Allen get a big boost this week. James Cook, that sucks. I don't know what the hell they're going to do. Ray Davis hasn't looked that great this year. Ty Johnson.
Ty Johnson was the one who I think because of the injury and how that played out, like teams don't usually shift in game when they're dealing with injury, so they'll kind of go with the game plan of Ty Johnson. I think they're going to involve Ray Davis more this week. I'm just expecting James Cook to be out. That's how I'm treating it. The turf toe. If you ever had turf toe, it is a bitch to deal with. It's really painful. So I'll have Ray Davis as like a top 24 option. He's more like running back 27. And then you could do Ty Johnson if you want to. On the flip side, this is the dream matchup for any running back. I have Breece Hall at RB1 because they give up the most receiving yards. They give up the most rushing yards. Like you just play your running backs against them. Braylon Allen, he's a flex for me. He's like RB26. I think Braylon Allen just needs a touchdown, but I think Breece will get there just fine this week.
You heard it here. Primo matchup for the Jets running back. Start Braylon Allen. Starting running back. Wide receivers, 27th best matchup for the Bills, 28th best matchup for the Jets. Not great. Keon Coleman, Curtis Samuel, Khalil Shakir if he's healthy, Garrett Wilson, Alan Lazard, Mike Williams, maybe Devontae Adams. I think I have like Garrett Wilson maybe as a low end 2-3. I don't really want to play anyone else in this. I don't really want to play anyone in this. This is ugly.
Yeah, it's Shakir if he's healthy. He's proven to be the wide receiver 1 on this team, the number 1 target on this team, especially with James Cook out. Khalil Shakir can absolutely eat underneath. He can be Wan'Dale Robinson in this game, 10 for like 38 and maybe a touchdown. On the other end, we've talked about it. Garrett Wilson, you're fading him. If you have to play him, and you probably do, fine. He's flex worthy, but he's got 3 horrific matchups in a row, starting with this one. After that, it gets way better. But yeah, buckle up. Garrett Wilson's season is not yet begun, even with a great week last week.
Yeah, he's going to get hyper targeted in this game. I just think they're just going to keep forcing him the ball. So I have him as a top 12 option. It's similar to kind of like Mike Evans this week, where like it could go wrong, but like it's just everything's there. So it's like you have to. Yeah, like I don't know if I want to start a Bills wide receiver this week if Shakir does not go, just because it's been so up and down for them. I guess Keon Coleman because he's the rookie with the upside, but man, Curtis Samuel is just not doing anything for them. And he's kind of been just like, baited by Khalil Shakir. So we'll see on Shakir. You could do Lazard because he's likely going to get another touchdown, or Mike Williams if you want to, but those are wide receiver 40, wide receiver 45. It's just kind of it's not great in this game. It's not great. Yeah. Oh, I guess we're going to go on tight ends.
Yeah. Well, no, but here's the thing, right? Is it doesn't matter between the passing game, whoever you're talking about. You have on one end, you have Josh Allen, who isn't able to get it to any of these mediocre playmakers, and on the other end, you have the Jets, who Aaron Rodgers isn't able to get it to any of these mediocre playmakers. But the problem is for the Jets here and Tyler Conklin or Garrett Wilson or whoever, yeah, you have the corners on the Bills, but you also have the literal ghost of DeMar Hamlin haunting the passing games of opponents. I mean, it's really rough out there for anyone who tries to throw against the Bills. They've proven it all season.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys. I tried to put it in the private chat that my kid's school called quickly. So nobody checked the private chat. And you
I was like, on to the tight ends.
Yeah. I was muted. So on to the tight ends here. Second worst matchup for Kincaid. So he might be an even lower buy low after this. 18th best matchup for Conklin. Having said that, tight end's so bad, I bet you I still have them in the top 15. I bet you I have Kincaid startable. Kincaid falls. Actually, Conklin's 10 for me. Kincaid is 9. So 9 and 10. That tells you how bad tight end is.
Yep, 10 and 12 for me. So you're probably starting these guys, but lower your expectations.
Yeah, I have them at 8 and 14. I don't feel great about either one of these options, but like it's just a better matchup for Conklin. I get it with Kincaid. This is your you gotta start showing something, buddy. Like make it happen. You're a good receiver. Make it work.
Dude, I think I had flashbacks there, Jeremy. You just quoted the priest at my wedding. You said you're probably starting her, but lower your expectations. Sorry, I'll stop. No longer.
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean that. Good.
Wicks for Juju? No, I'm keeping Wicks.
Well, they're on a bye.
It's really hard.
They're on a bye.
Unless you're going to start Juju.
The Chiefs.
Oh, Juju's
Chiefs.
on a bye is what you mean. Yeah.
I want Juju rest of season. I'll tell you that much. So if you're not starting Wicks this week, I'm fine doing the Juju thing. But if you're playing Wicks, just keep Wicks. That's how I would feel about it.
I prefer Wicks rest of season, anyways. I think, but
yeah, he's gonna
Juju for me.
That is a wrap, guys. Check back. What's today? Wednesday, Thursday, Friday? What are we on? Thursday. Check back
Thursday.
Tomorrow night, SC has another edition of Devi Diamonds. Saturday morning, he has the game day show from 10:30 a.m. right until college kickoff. You guys are scheduled for 3 o'clock on the round table Saturday. Not sure if you guys actually go. You guys going 3 Eastern, or what are you guys doing?
Maybe.
TBD. Check back. And then we are
We'll let you know.
We're live from 11:30 till kickoff at 1 o'clock on Sunday for sit start. But if you can't get your questions in Sunday morning because there's too many of them, check out the Roundtable Saturday where there's nothing but time for trade questions, lineup advice, all the fun stuff. So we will see you this weekend. Enjoy. What is it tonight? Niners, Seahawks.
Yes, it
Go
is.
Niners. I hate to see chickens.
You
like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe. Have a good one, guys.